Hello everyone, we have some medic gameplay today because we're talking about some medic things, specifically weapon selection, because I do get some questions about it. And I also see a big disconnect between the game at a casual and competitive level with regards to medics' weapon selection. Part of that is whitelist reasons, specifically the fact that the majority of medics' Mediguns are whitelisted, and I think you're allowed to use Kritzkrieg in stock. I don't think there's any others. But with those aside, as far as like primaries and even melees go, you see a lot of difference between them. So let's just get into it. For starters, as a medic, you don't use a single other weapon than the Crusader's Crossbow, ever. Because while, you know, you could argue there is a very powerful strength to, let's say, the speed of the overdose, or, you know, the Bloodsager could help you survive an engagement that you would otherwise die in. Like, sure, these weapons have merits, but keep in mind, in TF2, you can only have one weapon equipped at a time. And it's not that you get the speed boost of the overdose or the health of the Bloodsager, for instance. It's that you get those things without the healing and just wonder of the Crusader's Crossbow, right? There is a lot that makes the crossbow so fantastic. For starters, in my opinion, it's a better combat weapon than other syringe guns. And the syringe guns are so weird because I didn't know until quite recently that the actual visual indicators of where the syringes are is completely divorced from where the hitboxes are actually at. So it always felt like such a horrible weapon for me to use because it would, like, I tried to aim based on where I saw the needles going, and that was just, I guess you just need to aim it more intuitively than that, I suppose. But anyway, in my opinion, the crossbow is a better weapon in combat, because you just need to hit the one and chunk someone for a lot of damage. Plus the fact that it has kind of that reverse fall-off component to it, where the further you are, the more damage it does, which is really nice, and makes it a little bit spammable at times. Although a lot of the times that you would be spamming it in like a disad situation, you might be better off just building your Uber, so that it's as little ad as possible. But anyway, that's a big deal. But the massive thing is the fact that it just heals teammates, right? And you might say, like, well, I have a Medigun, so I don't need to be healing these teammates. But the crossbow, like, administers healing faster than the Medigun does. At least against those, or not against, but on your higher health pool targets. So like your heavies, your soldiers, in a lot of cases your demos as well. So those high health, like you really only benefit from using the Medigun to heal someone who, like a non-buff heal, when it's a very small health target, or they have crit heals, or any other things like that. On top of the fact that, you know, I didn't even mention, like, there's so many, I like go into detail about one, like, just insanely powerful upside of the crossbow, and then suddenly, oh, I totally forgot this thing. It heals at range. So all you need is a sight line with your player, and you get to heal them for a lot as well, because the healing ramps up with range. So there's a lot of times where, like, your teammate will be, look at that, 114 on that soldier in an instant. And no Medigun can do that. Which is why it's so fantastic for just administering healing and keeping players healthy. I think it is the de facto stock weapon of TF2, and at a high level, the game is played around the crossbow, or rather with the crossbow in mind, such that when, like, item servers are down in some cases, like somewhat recently, maybe a few months ago, they were down for like multiple days, and teams would sometimes just not even scrim. Or if only one player had access to items, that player was switching to medic, because if there's any unlock you absolutely need to play the game, it's the crossbow. Like, you can forego gunboats before you forego the crossbow, generally speaking. So there's that. But yeah, Another thing I should mention about the ranged healing as well. Yeah, I would not be able to heal that scout without committing forward. There's just going to be non-stop examples of bows just being insanely useful because they are that good. But on top of the fact of the range healing is the fact that you can just save a player who's losing a fight without being in danger yourself because you're at range. And that burst healing can be really nice. Like a lot of the time, a player will be really out of position and really weak, and then it gets called like, you know, all the damage is being called on them, and then suddenly it's called, they got bowed, and then they get to live now. So, yeah. Really no reason not to use the Crusader's Crossbow. It is that good. And as a result, every medic uses the Crusader's Crossbow. And this is like one of the biggest disconnects I see, is I see a lot of, in casual spaces, a lot of the other syringe guns are talked about, when that's not even a consideration whatsoever at the highest level, because, yeah, hopefully I've outlined just how insanely powerful it is. So yeah. Now, with that out of the way, we have the Medigun, and you are very limited in your options here. I'm not really going to talk about the mechanics or anything of the Medigun. I already have a video detailing that. And I'm not even going to talk that much about the Kritzkrieg either, because I have an entire... It might be on my second channel. I'll link it. I have an entire video dedicated to when you want to be picking the Medigun over the Kritzkrieg, how to play the Kritzkrieg, stuff like that. But that is the main conceit, is you can either choose the Medigun or the Kritzkrieg. The Medigun is kind of the standard option. It's what... Oh, another very useful arrow. And look, that demo immediately killed the medic afterwards. Another case of... what's it called? Yeah, you use stock as your kind of standard because the invulnerability of an Uber is much better, a much more powerful effect than the... guaranteed crits of a Kritzkrieg. But because the crits charges faster in situations where Ubers would otherwise be even, if you switch to crits, then you can theoretically have your crits charge before the other team has their Ubercharge, and as a result have like a surprise crits play. So basically, there are some teams that will like perma crits on occasion, and a lot of the time and you see this in like high levels as well. Like I remember watching like advanced playoffs games where a team was perma-critzing. And in this case, it was like not so much... Oh, another case of my arrows saving someone's life. That soldier probably should have just jumped away though and gotten a pack instead of taking that fight waddling around. But anyway, you'll see like at a high level some teams will perma-crits, but it's more so just like we were stuck on crits, or like we're kind of trolling a little bit. Oh, the other team's on crits right now. I didn't even realize that. And you can see not working at all, and now it's disad for them. So yeah, you do see that the perma-crits on occasion, but it's usually like in a less serious kind of setting, and a lot of the time as well, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It started off as like kind of troll, or you started off being stuck on crits and not liking it, but then like the other team just didn't play well around it, and it just worked, so you just kind of stay with it. There was a funny advanced match a few seasons ago I watched where a team was just running perma-crits, and when they switched to Uber, they started losing, so they just went back to perma-crits, which was funny. But yeah, choice between Uber and crits. Most of the time you want to be on Uber, and, you know, it's kind of just a team thing, whether you even like playing crits to begin with, because you are totally fine just playing Uber all the time. And of course, at a casual level, this is going to differ a lot because Medic has some really, really broken Mediguns. But yeah. So with that in mind, let us talk about the melees. And this is where there's also some disconnect, because a lot of people have the idea that the Uber Saw is kind of the Crusader's Crossbow of the melees, right? When that is very much not the case, actually. So in the past, the Solemn Vow was whitelisted for really no good reason. That is now no longer the case. But the Solemn Vow offers a pretty powerful upside that is pretty difficult to understate, and also very consistent. It's just consistently good versus something like the Ubersaw is absolutely still viable, and medics will still use it, but it's extremely situational. It is situationally very powerful. I'm sure at a casual level where it's much easier to secure melee hits on less skilled opponents, then it might be a little stronger. But in a coordinated team environment, the information offered by the Solemn Vow is fantastic. You get to spot the other team's health, which can be really useful for you calling out focus fires as a medic, which is something you otherwise wouldn't really be able to do. So that's fantastic. And the big thing as well, oh, they're on crits still. Crits to mid makes some, I mean, it's risky, of course, as any crits play is, but it makes sense in this, both meds are starting out as evens. You're trying to play off that crits ad. So anyway, what I was talking about Solemn Vow. Yeah, the other big thing is the fact that you get to, if you spot the other medic, you can see what percent they have in their Uber. And that can be huge, like, especially in like a Koth setting, but just any team fight setting where you have where it should be evens and both teams are playing it like it's even Ubers. If it's actually 10 ad, usually 10 ad is not a playable percent. But if both teams are already in and you're at 80%, you see that their med's at 70, you can call like, yo, this is ad. Like, once we get this, we can take it. I guess closer to like you're at 90 rather than 80. More of a short term on the fly plan. But that can be massive. And that's information that you only got because of the Solemn Vow. So Solemn Vow is probably the favorite melee for medics to use. But it is more so split. And you definitely see some Ubersaw still. But yeah, that's something that really gets understated. On top of the fact that, like, even in your own engagements, like if you're getting chased by a player, knowing their health is just valuable because you know how to play it, right? If you know they can die in one arrow, then you can potentially play it kind of aggressively, or rather, like, not be so scared of. Obviously, you still want to get out. You don't want to like go take 1v1s necessarily, but still useful information. So yeah, in a coordinated team environment like Sixes, the Solemn Vow finds a niche for sure. So yeah, I think that's probably all I have to talk about with the weapons. I mean, the other melees are not great, right? This is my medic loadout. Oh, you actually do see the amputator sometimes. And amputator is such a strange case because I did not even really know about the health regen. I kind of forgot that was a stat. I only saw it being used for the taunt, which is such a niche situation. Like, I don't even think it's really good for the taunt in a Sixes setting. Even though it has been, I've heard of, decent enough players trying it out. But that health regen is, like, actually kind of good. Regen is, I mean, you can see I'm just passively regenning right now. Regen is one of the main ways of healing as a med. Obviously, you still want to get packs, but you're going to take a random, like, 30 damage chip shot every now and again. And being able to regen that faster is unironically powerful. And I think that Amputator does make a case for itself as just a somewhat powerful passive melee to have. So yeah, I'm glad I looked because I totally forgot about the Amputator. I think that there's potential to this weapon. Vitasaw, you see, I think Vitasaw is just a worse Ubersaw, and the minus max health is bad. But that's pretty much it. I mean, stock is just stock. You're never going to use that if any other options exist on med. So yeah, there's some interesting cases out there. As far as your weapon selection goes, they all kind of do different things, but the medic loadout is one of those things where you're totally happy to not really switch it up ever. When I play med, I just crossbow, stock stock Medigun, and then Solemn Vow, and I'm perfectly happy. Versus, on scout you consider winger or rap assassin over the basher or stock pistol. On demo you have so many different primaries to use. Soldier, you have market gardener or Escape plan, stuff like that. Med is a little basic in that regard. You have some melee slot opportunity, but by and large, most of the other stuff's figured out. And yeah. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Do I survive this mid? Let's see. Oh, that soldier died, so I think I did. Maybe. I think we're leaving. Okay. We're getting out. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one.